Okay, hey there. I wanted to walk you through Illustrator or the use of Illustrator for Corel Draw and then the laser cutter. So kind of what we talked about was that the laser cutter is two parts. It's the drawing and then it's the laser cutter itself. So first we have to get the drawing right, and as long as we do that, then we have the hard part out of the way, I would say. So I'm in Illustrator here. I'm going to just click File, New, and the size doesn't matter too much, right? As long as it fits your drawing. The board on our laser cutter is, I believe, 32 by 18. So you could set it to something like that, whatever you want, doesn't matter. So here we have our canvas. And now if you're totally new to Illustrator, it's pretty overwhelming. There's a ton of stuff here. We're not going to use very much of this, so you don't have to worry too much. A couple important things over here on the left. This is like your tool panel, just like with Photoshop. And then up here, this is usually kind of the specifics of whatever you've chosen to use. So what I mean by that is, like, if we come down here to the shape making tool, and here you can see we've chosen a rectangle. If I right click on this, it'll give me some other options. So now we have rectangle, ellipse, star, blah, 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 blah. So let's choose an ellipse, and I'm going to come out here onto the canvas and go ahead and draw that. You click, hold your click, and then you can move your shape around until it's what you want, and then you can let go. And then also keep in mind up here at the top if you want to change that shape a little bit. So if you really have a specific shape size that you want, you can change that right here. And you can see this is the width and this is the height. So it's not quite a circle. But if I wanted it to be a circle, I could very easily change the height and the width. And now I have a perfect 11-inch by 11-inch circle. If you want to change to millimeters or whatever, you're going to go to View, I believe. Find rulers, show rulers, and now it's going to show you your size up here in the viewing box. You can right click on that and change that to whatever you want. So if you want millimeters, now we have millimeters. If you want inches, now you have inches. In any case, we have our shape, and then you can move that by clicking and dragging. So as we talked about, for the laser cutter, there's a few things you need. If it's going to be rasterized, meaning it's going to take away that material to a certain depth, you need to use the color black. Right now we don't have a fill in this, but if we wanted to, let's say, cut out or rasterize this circle in our laser cutter, this is your fill box here. So here we have fill box and stroke box. So to fill this, we can click on this, choose a color, and in this case we want black, and for whatever reason it didn't change. Let's try that again. Okay. So now if we put this into the laser cutter, the laser is going to rasterize this shape. If we want to cut out the shape, remember that our outline needs to be a very specific red and a specific thickness. The color was 255 red, and the thickness of that line is 0.01. So I'm going to go back to our fill, and I'm going to take away that fill. And you can take it away. I know you can't see this on my screen because of my screen selection, but I'm basically choosing this white box with a line through it. Right. So let's choose our shape. I think that's what happened there. I didn't choose my shape. So choose your shape, choose the line, or the box with the line through it. That's going to give you no fill, basically. And I'm doing that because I want you to see the outline of this a little bit more clearly. So we're going to choose our outline. You can see here we have a CMYK red. The red you probably want probably isn't in here. So let's double click on this CMYK red. That opened up this little dialog box for us. And then what we need is we actually need RGB. So we need RGB, and then we need RGB 255, which is exactly what's set up here. But let's say this was set up a little bit differently. Let's say it was like something like this. So let's say it was 255, 75, blah, blah, blah. You're going to go ahead and just click into these, change that to 0, change this to 0, and then if you need to change your red square, it's 255. So as you can see, RGB is you have red, green, blue, and then you're going to change that to 255. So again, oftentimes it's on CMYK, you're just going to come in, change that to RGB, and then change your red to 255, G to 0, blue to 0, and then you can go ahead and click OK. So now we should have, awesome, it looks like I keep forgetting to select my object. So object is selected, click in. Now I'm wondering if it saved that for us. It looks like it did not. So I've got my object selected, I clicked in. Let's double click into this box, RGB, 255, excuse me, 0, 0, OK. Okay, so now we have a red outline that's exactly the color we need so the laser cutter can print it, or cut it, excuse me. The other thing we need is a certain line thickness. So remember, it needs to be 0.01. And now, if we put this into the laser cutter, and you can see that red line is very slight. It's a really small line. If we put this into the laser cutter is going to see this red line, and it's going to cut out this shape. And you could have, you can have rasters or cut out, like takeaways and cutouts in the same object. Now, obviously, if you think about this, the red's going to get cut out. The white is going to stay whatever your material color is. So if I was going to raster something out of this shape, I probably wouldn't raster the entire shape, because visually it's not going to be any different than just having the color of the material. So if I wanted to raster and cut out here, probably what I would do is I would probably create a shape inside of my shape. So now you would have, and let's choose no stroke on this, and then we'll choose black as the fill color. So now you can see the laser cutter would see this black shape to be rasterized. You would have the white area would be the normal color of your material, and you would have the red area, which would be the cutout. So now you could have some difference here. But if you just fill this larger circle with black, you're really just going to waste your time, because it's going to cut out this whole space, and it's not going to be any, visually it wouldn't be any different than if you hadn't cut it out, so do think about that. So this is probably the most simple part of this, is kind of understanding the cutout is going to be red 255, 0.01 line thickness, and the raster is going to be any filled in area that's black. If we have an object like this, so let's say we have another circle, and let's say it doesn't have a fill, but instead has a black outline, that will still raster. So this will still cut, and this would actually still raster. So if the laser cutter saw this, it would first rasterize this black line. So it would basically look like you had kind of a black line inside of your material, and then it would get cut out also. So you can use thin black lines as detail lines if you want to, and those can always look quite nice. And then what we'll do next I'll show you how to bring an image into Illustrator and then turn an image into a cutout or a raster. So this is kind of the most simplistic thing you can do, is create a shape, cut it out, or rasterize it. Next we'll bring an image in, and I'll show you what to do with that. So I hope this makes sense. Basically, you've got red and black. Red's going to cut, black's going to rasterize. Okay? Okay, cool.